Yeah, Dan, it's a dry 84, so it's okay. That's fine. It's a funny comment there. In where I live in Wenatchee, Washington, it's been about 100 the last, I don't know, month or so. But the problem is we have so many fires out there right now that everything is kind of socked in. So it usually is 100 and sunny. Now it's like 100 and socked in, so it's awful over there. And I guess we're supposed to have this really weird dry lightning storm come flying through and kind of tear up our town a little bit. With more lightning strikes, more fires, it's going to be not great. Anyway, we're here to talk about come betting and place betting this morning. So y'all like the thumbnail today? I kind of broke my rule, and I don't want to go down this road of making like these crazy AI thumbnails every day. I like more traditional design, but I couldn't get it right, so I went to AI, and I think it did a pretty good job of giving us kind of a Mortal Kombat feel this morning for the thumbnail. Anyway, I got on this topic today because I want to talk about because Ken from Ken Does Gambling did a rant the other day about the math stuff, and and I made this kind of joke yesterday that sometimes you find that I hate to classify people so much, like the math guys, the nerds, right? They kind of come out like on random days all together. It's weird. Like there was maybe it's the same guy, who knows? But in Facebook the other day there was a like 7 or 8 different conversations about, why would any asshole play a place bet when a come bet's got the lowest house edge? And then of course it's like this big collision of stupidity. But for whatever reason, it was all these things at the same time. Maybe it's one guy trying to stir the pot. I don't know. But it gets me, that argument always makes me angry because I can fall in on both sides of this debate for different reasons, right? Low house edge is important and it does matter. But it's not always the way to win. And I think there's this kind of there's the dogmatism that some people approach this conversation with that just drives me nuts. So anyway, that's going to be our topic here of the day once we get through sort of the regular, intro stuff. And I want to make sure that we're always cognizant of the fact that we are here to fight the casinos, right? We are here waging this kind of Mortal Kombat against the house, right? And the thing is, it's not really a fair fight. I gave this analogy yesterday and I think it's a good one actually, where it's like a bow and arrow fight, right? Back in the day. Or you can use a gunfight today, but YouTube will probably shut me down. But a bow and arrow fight where you've got bows and arrows, and every one of your guys has got a quiver of 6 arrows, and the casino's got crossbows, and they have unlimited bows or unlimited arrows, right? That's what you're fighting. They have unlimited money, right? Even if, and I say this a lot, and I don't think people get it, even if the house edge on every bet was 0, let's be honest about this. If the house edge on every bet was 0, okay? If the 6 in craps actually paid 6-5, if the 5 and the 9 actually paid 3-2, if every bet was completely fair, they'd still kick your ass because you will run out of money, right? You can't go in there assuming you're going to get exactly the right number of things to happen your way. There's going to be variance, and when there's variance, which means we're off of the norm, what's expected, you might run out of money. You will eventually. The casino never will. That alone makes it an unfair fight. Even if we all had bows and arrows, they have unlimited arrows and you don't. You will eventually run out. This is the business model. And that's the battle that you're waging, right? So we like to talk about on my channel and some of my friends' channels about what's the best way to go into that, right? Some people would say, don't bother. It's a fight you can't win. Don't bother going. I can understand that argument. Some people would say, well, let's be better arrow fighters. Let's learn how to hide, right? Let's get behind rocks. Let's do other things that we can do to kind of keep ourselves safe. That's the plan, right? And what is the way you can do that? Well, you've got what we think is a pretty good toolkit called the bridge, right? It's taking your bankroll, your arrows, use them the best way you can, right? Mitigate your risk or lean into your risk. Maybe you're a really good shooter. You want to come and you want to run head on into the battle because you can shoot arrows on the fly like the guy in the Odyssey, right? Maybe you're a better marksman. You got to be in a tree. Who knows? You got to figure that out for yourself, right? You got to know the game you're playing. You got to understand what discipline is. And I think that what separates a guy who's playing for low house edge versus a gambler is the discipline goal thing. Those are the two things that I think are separators that really kind of, I think, tease apart the way that people think about things, right? And then there, of course, your emotions. I look at it like this. So when I look at the math versus gambling debate, to me, it's these are the things that kind of matter in this talk, right? It's mindset, your mindset. You're not going to change. Here's the thing: a math person is never going to change the mind of a gambler. Let's just call a spade a spade. You can kick and scream and act like a dick and be a baby and be smug, your smug ass attitude all you want. You're never going to change somebody's mind. You're never going to do it. And I'll use myself as an example. I'm one of the smartest people I know. But I have friends that are 10 times smarter than me. I'll give you an example. Myopia Movie. He's been on my show many times. He's one of the smartest people I've ever met in my life. We have had great debates. He gets in my face whenever he wants. It's good, right? He has opened my eyes to how the math works better than I thought it would. Or better than I did before, rather. Like, I've learned a ton from him. I still am never going to go low house edge, and I'm not going to die on that cross. I'm not going to switch sides. My mindset is I want to fight my way, right? My mindset is I want to gamble. I want to do it my way, even though this other way exists and has good merit. It's like politics. I'm never going to convince somebody who's on the other side of my side, the other team. You're never going to bring somebody. Once in a blue moon, somebody comes over to your side. It just doesn't happen. There's a lock-in mentality on both ends of this thing, right? And I think there's an attitude problem too. Like I said, I use the word smug. I think math guys are very smug. I think they come at it with a shitty attitude. And that is partially why the gamblers are always giving them the finger. There's a reason for that. It's because of the attitude. And gamblers, myself included, are just as bad. We're going to dig our heels in and say, you don't fucking know how to gamble, blah, 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 right? It's all this, right? It's I gotta winism, right? The argument. I think though, honestly, if I'm going to get back to it, the goal of your session has a say in this. And I mean that. And I don't want to say your goal should never be to not win. But if you're cruise shipping, and this is a good example, or you're trying to build comps, a low house edge, high bet game is the way to go. There's a tool there, right? If you're going to play the horseman with black chips, $200 on the don't, $300 comebacks for a $500 average, and most of the time, because the low house edge of those bets, you're going to tie, you can last an entire cruise with a couple $1,000 playing $500 average bets and earn the points. No, you're not looking to take the house down, but you are looking to survive. A low house edge is a survival game. When you look at the numbers, and I'll show you some in a little bit, it's a survival game. Low house edge means basically you don't win, you don't lose. You're going to be pretty much tied the whole time. Well, that's not opportunity. If you're there to gamble and win money, there's no opportunity in a tie, right? You got to take chances at some point. And it's hard to take chances in a low house edge game. It just is. It's not built for growth, in other words. Other ways of playing, especially on craps, are built for growth. And craps is the one game, it's the only game, and that's why we talk about it in terms of craps, where you have variable house edge in the same game. It's the only, well, to some degree. Okay, and what I mean by that is in roulette, every single bet is always a 5-5-6 house edge. No matter what you do, it's always the same. You can't pick different bets and get different house edges in roulette. In blackjack, if you're playing perfect basic strategy, your house edge is 0.5%. Shit run or go blind, that's what it is. Unless you fuck up your play, right, make a bad decision, the house edge is the house edge. In Baccarat, the house edge never changes. You can't make a decision to change the house edge in those games. In craps, you can. You can make different choices. And that's why this game is more, I think, interesting. But we got to understand the truth of it. The truth of the math is important. So for all of you guys who are quote-unquote gamblers and want to give the math nerds the finger, you got to know the truth. I'm going to show you the truth today. The truth hurts sometimes. It's not always what you want to know or what you want to hear. Okay, but the math guys have to hear the reality. And the reality of it is low house edge plays have no opportunity. It just is. You'll see that there's very small wins, very small losses, and big fucking deal. What'd you go for? If you're going to go for a small loss, then what are you doing there? Is my question to the math guys. What are you doing there if all you care about is losing as little as possible? If you want the experience, great. If you want the comps, great. If that's what your play is, then great. You can turn a very thin house edge into a positive house edge or positive EV for you if you're playing for comps, because comps can earn you over the edge, right? If you're there to win some money, low house edge games are not the way to do it. The reality of it is gambling is taking a swing and trying to do something where the low edge plays just aren't built that way. But there's truth behind the math, and I want to show you all of it. Let me head over to my table really quick, and I want to give you a couple of examples, and I'm going to put the examples into some code here. So let me go to my table first. I think I might have to turn that camera back on again. The camera, for whatever reason, turns itself off. I'm not sure why. Hold on a second. Let's see here. I think it's just underpowered or something. I'm not sure what the deal is, but give it a second to turn itself on. Come on, dude. You can do it. You can do it. Come on, camera. There we go. All right. So let's look at a couple of things here. I want to make sure that we're framing our words right. Okay, I'm going to try and get the chat going so I can see. If you have questions, drop them in chat. I'll try and get to them here as I go. All right. So the first kind of myth I want to dispel, and I really don't like this part of the argument, is let me just show you how these bets work. And I'm going to use the come as an example, not the pass line, because the come is just closer to me. The way a come bet works, let's put a $10 come bet in, okay? This bet is a two-phase bet, okay? A lot of people will say, oh, it's got to hit a number twice to win, and that's a shitty argument. It's the wrong argument to have, okay? Two-phase bet. Right now, this bet is a bet on the 7 or the 11 versus the 2, 3, or 12. That's it. This is a one-roll bet. It's no different than the field. Imagine the field only having the 7 and 11 in it, and you win on the 7 or 11, or you lose in a 2, 3, or 12. It's a one-roll bet. That is a one-roll bet. And so is the pass line, and so is the don't pass. These are one-roll bets. Don't forget that. When you make the argument that this bet has to do something twice, you're lying to yourself. Okay? It's a one-roll bet on the 7 or 11 versus 2, 3. That's it. Okay? Then, if the user doesn't roll a 2, 3, 12, 7, or 11, then it moves into now this bet has changed. Now it's a bet on the 6. This bet only needs the 6 to roll one time. And let's be honest about this. This is part of the argument that I want to admonish all the gamblers on this. This bet only needs the 6 to roll once. Here, it needs to roll the 7 or 11. It's a one-roll bet. It's a hop bet. It's no different than the fucking field, other than if it's not a 7, 11, 2, 3, or 12, the bet doesn't lose. It just happens to become something different. Now this bet needs a 6 to win one time. Okay, let's kill that part of the argument. And that drives me nuts when I hear people say it's got to win twice. It doesn't have to win twice. It's got to win that number one time. Here it's a one-roll bet. Here it's a forever bet. That's the way to frame that. Okay, now the argument that this is the lowest house edge bet is because of this right here. In totality, that bet is a 1.4 or 1 point whatever it is house edge, 1.41, right? Because big advantage here, big underdog here. The combination of those makes it a low house edge play, not this. This is not a low house edge bet. When it's sitting here, you're getting your ass kicked. You're getting paid 1-to-1 when you're the underdog. Okay? This is a shitty bet. This is a great bet. That's a shitty bet when it moves up. You make that bet better by putting odds on it, by maxing out the odds. The odds help that bet not suck quite so much because the odds pay without a house edge. So the odds enhance this bet. The problem with the odds is that they come out of your rack. And this is where I say all the time, the math people that play this way have to have massive bankrolls, because if you're going to do 2 come bets and it goes to the 9 and you're going to put $40 on that one as odds, and then you do another come bet, 3-point Molly, and it goes to the 4 and you're going to put $30 on that bet. Well, my friends, now you've got 10, 20, 30 in flat bets. You got 50 and 40 is 90 plus 30, 120 in odds bets. So 120 plus 30 is $150. That's not a little bit of money. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money out of your rack to make hay. And when the 7 comes, it's a big whack. Okay, the difference is, and what the argument is from the other side of this, return on investment of that is not very good, right? Those bets, even though they're there, let's take the 6 as the example. A $10 6 with $50 in odds does pay $10 flat, and it does pay $60 on the odds. The whole bet pays $70, which is nice, right? Plus your money back. The guy with a $60 place bet, guess what he wins? $70. He wins the exact same thing. Those bets are equivalent when they're the same size. At max odds on a 3-4-5 table, these bets pay the exact same across the board. That's fine. That's not a big. That's an okay argument to have. Where the return on investment argument comes that I was trying to make yesterday is this. It's about money out of the rack versus return. Now, I'm going to cherry pick an example which Myopia Movie called me out yesterday for this, but I have to do this because there's no other way to make this example work until I show you what I'm going to do. If you have, and let's use the 5, $10 flat, $40 in odds. That guy's got $40 at risk. Okay. If I put a $20 place bet out there, okay, and again, while this is in the come, okay, I got $20 at risk. He's got $10 at risk. So right now my risk is 2-1. Okay. Let's say that we happen to roll a 5. Okay. Come bet travels to the 5. This bet gets paid $28. Right. At that moment, we're in a different spot. Technically speaking, I'm out of the hand, right? But we're going to do this. We're going to say this guy's going to put his 40 in odds, okay, which is what he's allowed to do. He has 10 plus 40 in odds, right? Actually, we'll do him 30 odds. This is what I have money for. We'll do $30 in odds, okay? He's going to go for a total of 40. He's going to go for a total of also $40. We're going to press our bet. One guy's got $8 back. He started with 20, which means he has $12 at risk. This guy's got all 40 at risk. The risk reward at this point is vast, right? When that $40 bet pays $56, right? We're going to bring it all down. This is what the place better has. I'll put his money right there. He's got that. This guy's going to get paid his 10 flat and his 45 on the odds. Okay, he's going to get this back. Now again, let's separate it out. There's his original come bet. There's his $30 that he added to it for odds from his rack. And he's got 25, 50, $5 in profit. Let's make that a green. He has 55 in profit. This guy over here started with 20. There's his money back. But he ends up with 75, 80, $4 in profit, right? 25 or 30 or 50% more profit than this guy has for a lot less investment. So the ROI on this bet is better than the ROI on that bet in totality. If the number hits and you press it and you stop playing, the same as this guy comes to the number, gets hit, and stops playing, the reward is vastly superior for the place better. The whole point of place betting is not to same bet, right? It's not to go and put, $10 and 40 and then have this guy go also $40 and compare the wins. That's a stupid argument to have. And when people have this argument, it's a dumb argument, right? To go 1 for 1, it's a dumb way to have this conversation, because the place better is not just going to match the come better's bets. The place better is trying to use the casino money, their win, to jack up their bet to play at the same level for half the risk or more than half the risk. That's the point of place betting. So if you're going to have this argument, the argument should be my place bet needs to hit so I can use the winnings to match what you're coming out of your rack with. That's the play. This is the gambler play. Let me put up 20 so that when it wins, I can go to 40 and be at the same place you are. I'll put these side by side. Be at the same level that you are, but only $12 of mine is on that table. The rest of it is in my rack, and I'm a happy fat bastard with $12 at risk while you got $40 and you're sweating. That's the argument to have. Now, you can't make that happen because you want to. And here's the problem that I have with this argument that I'm making, right? Even though I'm right, and this place better would be in a much better spot if you knew in advance what was going to happen. If I knew that the dice were going to roll and become a 5, well, shit, I bet the $20 5, press it up, and win this argument all day long. But I don't know that. I don't know that, right? But here's the next piece of it, right? The side part of this, right? What the place better wants is to pick their own number. The place better is their whole argument is and should be, but, I get to pick my numbers. I get to play what I want. You can't, once the come bet travels in, take the bet down. You're stuck with A, where that bet goes, and B, you're stuck with it's got to stay there. You can't ever pull this bet away, right? As a place better, I can say, well, I want the 9, and I want some 8 action, and I want whatever I want. I get to choose, and if I don't like what's going on, I can take my shit down. This guy's stuck there, right? The opportunity to choose your battle, pick your arrows, hide behind whatever rock you want to hide behind, run at the enemy. You have that choice. Gamblers and place bettors have choice. Come bettors do not. Come bettors, as I say, have given up. They're like, well, fuck, I don't care. I can't beat you anyway. So you just tell me where my money's going to go, and I'll keep throwing more money in, and you just tell me if I win or not. This guy's like, I'm going to lose my 1% no matter what. I just don't care. I want to be here. Given up. There's no opportunity here to win. No, you have no stake in the game, so to speak, right? Now, to make this, I think, make sense to me, right, is this. Let's try and do it that way. And it's going to be, there's 2 ways to do this, and both are unfair, unfortunately. So I'm going to try and give you this as best as I can, okay? One way of doing it is this. Have the come bet go in at $10, and wherever it goes is going to max the odds out, okay? But to really play the game I'm trying to play here, you've got to do this. You got to go 110 inside, and you got to go $15 4 and 10. You got to go 140 across effectively. This guy, because I don't know where this bet's going to go. If I want to make it a fair fight, I got to risk 140 to win something. Let's just roll. Well, the dice were a 5. Let's go to the 5, right? What I would do to make this argument happen is watch the rhythm here. And this is what I'm going to show it to you first. Then I'm going to run a computer program that shows it how this comes out, okay? If this were the case, okay, that 5 would pay $35. And the come bettor is going to move in, right? He moves into the 5. We get paid $35, okay? We're going to come down with everything. The 140 was out there to help me find the number. So now we're going to go out there with $40. This guy here is going to go ahead and put his $40 on. Okay. Now he has his come bet with odds. I have my place bet at the same bet level, but again, little to no risk. Okay. And I can go out there and play again. That's the whole point. There's my 125. There's my 140. My money's back. I'm playing, and that's how this is going to happen. Okay. That's one way of doing it. The unfair part of that is that this guy's got $140 at risk to get to a number, where this guy's got $10 at risk to get to a number. And it feels like it's an unfair fight to some degree, but it's the cherry pick that I took yesterday and this morning to show you how this works. Okay, now, the other way to do it is to lean into what the place better is saying they want to do, which is pick their number. Okay, the place better has the chance to pick their number. Come better does not. The dice roll to a 5. Let's say the place better is going to do a $30 8. That's it. We're going to have one bet each. I like the 8. He goes to the 5. He puts up his $40 in odds. I've got my 30 sitting here. Okay, now we're in the same spot, effectively. I need my 8 to quote unquote roll twice. If we get an 8 and it pays 35 and I pressed it to 60 and the 60 wins, 75 for 5, I'm out with 105 in profit, right? My 8 has to roll twice. I got to get a number to hit 2 times. Once to press it, once to hit it. Over here, he's got to get a number to roll so it gets set and then roll that second time to get the payment on. We're both going to need a box number to roll 2 times to get the bets to resolve. That's the second way to do it. The unfairness to this is that I get to pick my number, which I guess is the whole point, versus this guy has no shot, right? There's going to be times where you're here, $30 8, $10 in the come, and the 7's going to roll, right? You're going to get the 7, and I lose 30 and he wins 10. That's the advantage of the come bet. There's going to be times where he wins when I lose. It happens all the time. There's going to be times where the come better's up here. Let's say the point is a 9, and we're here. He's got 10 and 40. I've got 30, right? And the puck goes off. The guy hits the point, right? And now we're coming out. And well, guess what? He's gonna have this weird case where he can lose this bet and I can't. There's unfairness on all sides of this thing because of the way the rhythm of these bets works. There's no good way to really test it because there's going to be times where what if we were both on the same number? What if we're both here? What if we're in this case, right? The 5 was the call, right? And I've got let me get back to where I was. I got my $40 5 up front. He's got his 5 with his odds in the back, and we're even, Steven, right? We're here. The puck is off, and the guy rolls a 5. 3, where's my 2? The guy rolls a 5. Well, guess what happens now? Now we're in a weird spot. I've already pressed my bet. We get a 5. He gets his odds back. He gets paid on the flat bet. Puck goes here. He's back in the come. What do I do with this bet? Right? If I'm going to test this legitimately, I got to take the bet down. Technically, put it over here somewhere. Just take it down. Let something else happen. All right, let's pick a different number. Let's take those to the 9. I don't want to do the puck thing. So this, his new come bet, rather, now goes to the 9. He puts the odds back up on that come bet. Now I go and match him. I can kind of follow him around, but there's going to be places where he's at risk and I'm not. It's a really tough argument to have when you look at how the bets move around, right? So the best thing that I can do is run a simulation that does 2 things. One thing is going to be I pick my number, right, as a place better. I'm going to press it, and then I'm going to get out. It's going to roll twice. I'm going to press once and collect and leave the game. The come better is just going to go come and max odds. And that's all we're going to do. Come and max odds, and that's it. We're going to run it 1 bet for him, 1 bet for him. I pick my number and the way I want to play it. He doesn't pick his number, but he does get to decide how much odds he wants. We're going to go max odds and 1 hitting down. That's A. The B play is the 140 across. Let the game decide the number for both of us, and then I'll take my bets away and we'll play it out. So it's a tough argument to have, and I want to make sure that you see all of the movement of these chips because there's a lot to the way both these guys play. Okay? The one way is a low house edge play. And again, the 5 with the max odds, the 6, all these things with max odds, they are low house edge. But they come at a price. The low house edge comes at this price. Okay, I'll show you the price. The price to pay is this. Come bet to the 9 with 40 in odds. Right? Come bet to the 4 with 30 in odds. Again, max odds. 3, 4, 5 table. Come bet to the 6 with max odds. You're 150 out of your rack. That's the cost of low house edge. It's a lot of money. The cost of low house edge is a lot of money, and you're adding money on top of bets that are more likely to lose than win. You're adding all these quote-unquote free odds. There's $120 in odds out of your rack, out of your pocket, out of your bank account to lower the house edge. These bets are super high house edge and suck. These bets, when you put them on top, make the house edge more palatable, but that all coming out of your rack, all of it, okay? Where the place better is saying, look, I'm going to put 20 bucks on the number, I'm going to let it run, pay me $28, and I'm going to then press it up. I'll go to 25, 45, 48. Now I've got this $48 bet sitting out here, but only 30 of it's mine. I got power for a lower cost. That's the trade-off. The trade-off is you're at risk for a bigger amount for the first one than this guy is. But after it gets hit, this guy's got the disadvantage. It's a very interesting game, and I think these arguments to me are fun to have if you're open to it. You got to be open to hearing the argument and not out there in chat telling me how right you are and how wrong I am. Right? That's the thing. You got to definitely be open to hearing it. Okay, now I'm going to run through chat really quick before I go to the computer. And I'll show you a couple of simulations that I ran. Okay, so let's go over here and just run through it really quick. All right. All right. So Ken, I know you want to disagree on this, right? To win the come bet in totality, the 6 will have to come twice, right? But you don't know it ahead of time. Right now, it's a 1-roll bet. When it travels, that bet just has to hit the 6 one time. You just don't get to choose where it lands, right? But once it's here, that number has to roll once. You're right. The 6 does have to roll 2 times for the whole bet to come and resolve itself. But right here, you can win on a 7 or 11 where this guy loses on the 6, right? So yes, a number will have to roll 2 times for the bet to completely resolve itself. But you can win here. And that's the difference of it. So it's not that you say the number has to roll twice. It has to roll once after it's there. And it's a slight difference of the argument, but it's the reality of it. It's hard to understand for a lot of people when I explain it that way, but that's just the truth of it. I look at the bets as they currently sit, and as they currently sit, not here. Because I could easily say, well, for me to hit, whatever, the 8's got to roll twice too, right? It's the same argument. That 8's got to roll 1 time for me to get paid. Then I make a decision. All right, let's go in here. Let's see, 40 crap. I'm missing a step when I place the 5 bet. The other bet's on the come. Right, and I'm not missing a step. We talked about that. It's definitely there. The place bet is not a loser because it doesn't pay. This is being dogmatic, right? It's not a loser because it doesn't pay true odds. As a matter of fact, if you're here and look here, if you're $5 and you put double odds on it for $30, let's look at this, right? Because this is where, unless you're playing max odds, that argument doesn't hold water. Because 10 with 20 is 30. That pays 20. 20 pays 30. That pays $40. Okay? What does a $30 5 pay? $30 5 pays $42. The same risk, better payment. Okay? This bet, these odds, although free, do not matter enough to overcome this unless you're maxing them out. And I think that's something else people don't understand. Most people don't understand unless you get to 3, 4, 5 level or higher with your odds, the place bet's always the better play. It pays better. There's $2 to prove it. That pays more than that, even with the come bet and the odds, unless you max the odds out. And when you max the odds out, all you do is even the score. These bets pay the same when this guy has max odds. There's no advantage financially to doing a come bet. If you're looking to just make money, make place bets, because the come bets and the pass line do not pay better than place bets ever. In dollars and cents, they do not pay better ever until you get past 3, 4, 5. They just don't. The math works in favor of the place better on the payment of the bet at the same value. The difference is the rhythm, the come rhythm, with the winning and losing in here. The 7 and the come that takes this guy's money and pays this guy, that's the difference. That's the only real difference here, other than the size of the odds. And again, the size of the odds comes out of your rack. You have got to realize that. It's such an important piece that people don't really consider when they talk about this. All right. All right. Name the only bet goes from underdog to favorite, right? That is the don't pass, and we all know that, right? The DP for sure. I don't want to get into pass line versus don't pass because there's a huge weakness in the don't pass to the come out sequence. But there's a lower house edge here because of it. Because you become the favorite after the play. Maybe that's a different conversation for next week for sure. All right. What else do we have? Name the bet and all again. We are the favorite. You know the answer to that one, everybody. It's the don't pass bet that's traveled, but getting it traveled is super, super hard. All right. Let me go down here and run, and let me run. I know place bets don't pay true odds, but they pay better than true odds. They pay better than the bet. They do. They pay better until you get past the point. Place bets pay better until you're past 3, 4, 5. You should know that. Everybody should know that. All right. Let me go down to the boring part. Ready? That was exciting. Hopefully it was. Let's go here. And I wrote this little app yesterday that is not terribly exciting, but it will showcase some stuff. Okay, I'm running this. We're going to cover the 6. This is going to compare a come better who has single odds, or I'm sorry, a $10 come bet with max odds, wherever it goes to. The place better is going to do just the 6. for 30 bucks. He's going to take a hit and then take the second hit and stop playing. The come better is going to, of course, get to a number, take a hit and stop playing. Just on pure rhythm alone, one number versus one number. Place better chooses the number. I can pick whatever number I want to up here, the 5, the 6, whatever I want. 2 hits and out. The come better is going to go to a number that the dice choose and get his hit and be out. How do these guys compare? And I'm going to go ahead and wind this back up. There's a lot of data here. I wrote this code here. So there's a ton of data here. And it kind of drifts every single time. And you'll see as we go sort of what some of the differences are. Okay, so here we are. We have 10 shooters, 90-something rolls. And we're not resyncing. So this basically means the guys keep their bets up. Okay, the player one, right, only risked $510. The come better risked $900. So it's not quite double, but it's a whole. But this is what I was saying. It's a lot more money out of the rack to play the come bet. Okay, the come better got some good hits. It looks like he earned a bunch of money. The gross wins were 370 versus 280, but the gross losses were bigger. There must have been a bunch of PSOs in this right here. So the place better in this case lost 170. The come better won $80 on the net. So here's your EV here on the end. This shows you a lot of stuff where you can look at like how many times on the get set roll. What happened on the get set roll, right? Where the player one presses and the player two travels, right? Well, of course, the player one is going to make $105 whenever the press happens. The player two, of course, never. This is that come bet moving. The come bet moves, never makes nothing, right? On the PSOs, right, where we're sitting on the 6 and the come better's in the come, how many times did that happen in this particular run, right? Here's what happened. We lost $150 out here, right? The other guy didn't lose anything, right? How many times we 7 out? I pressed up my 6 and got a 7. The come better got to the come and he had his odds on and got 7 out. This is kind of showing you how the rolls sort of resolve themselves. And at the very bottom here, you can kind of see sort of like what happened here. Player one ended up risking 510 to lose 170 for minus 33% today. Player two risked 900 to lose 80. They both lost, right? Again, the come better is always going to be in this tiny little area here. He's never going to have a whole ton of money out or a whole ton of money in. I like this first section here where it talks about the total dollars wagered. It's interesting. Let's run it again. Let's do it again. And every time I do it, it's different, of course. You don't know what's going to happen. This time, place better risked 690 to win 1,000. And the come better risked 840 to win 920. It must have been a pretty solid set of rolls. They got 98 rolls this time. 9 per shooter. Look at that difference when you get 9 rolls per shooter instead of 6 rolls per shooter, how much money you guys make. But yeah, so the net profit here was way up. And if we zip to the bottom here, again, the profit was 48% versus 9%, right? Big swing. And remember when we talk about variance, big swings in small stages, right? This, I think, is an important conversation to have because 10 shooters simulates once around the table, what I'm simulating here. Once around the table, today's session, right? As a place better, I killed it. I made a bunch of money today, right? As a come better, I didn't make hardly anything today, right? And if you talk to true gamblers who say, look, when you get up, you get out, this is a day where I could have got up and got out, okay? You'll find wild variance. The last set of 10, the come better tripled up this guy. This guy tripled up this guy today on this set of 10 shooters. But if I go and make this thing 1,000 shooters, right, you'll find that the numbers converge. And almost every time it ends up in the same spot. Look at this. Almost every time we end up here. Because the 6 is a low house edge bet. The come is a low house edge bet. They're going to end up almost the same every single time over massive time. Right? But look at this. Out of my rack, 52,000. Out of my rack as a come better, 70,000. Come betting and pass line betting is not cheap. Look at the amount of money you had to bring more than the other guy did just to play the game. That's a ton of money, by the way. That's a ton of money. When I look at that, and every time I run the simulation, it's the same. It's always, 20 to 50% higher buy-in required to make the house or to make the come bet with full house with full odds. It's incredible how much money it costs to do this. But look at where we are, right? The 6 is a little bit lower house edge, or a little bit higher house edge than the Kombat, and it comes out exactly in the numbers. When you play for massive amounts of time and have massive amounts of rolls, this is what happens. Every single time this happens, the numbers converge to where they should be. You're down to essentially what the house edge is going to be on these bets. Okay, so here, player 1, 52,000 to lose 4. Player 2, 71,000 to lose 3. Right, the percentages are super close. Okay, player 2 finished ahead of the other player by about $1,000 over 1,000 shooters, is what ends up happening. Okay, so there you go. There's that run. If I do it again, let's do the first one again. Let's cover with the 4. Instead of the 6, we'll do the 4. And what does the 4 do this time? So the 4, the Kombat won $1. Isn't that great? He tied. And the 4 lost $45, which is, look at that. When you place the 4, it's literally a 4.6% house edge or something like that. It's like exactly right. So yeah, player 1 risked $24,000 to lose $3,700. Player 2 risked $75,000 to lose $90. Yeah, he lost less, but look at the bankroll required to play that way. Not everybody can play. Even one Kombat with max odds is a $75,000 investment. Can you believe that? I mean, I want you to look at that again and be like, holy crap. If I'm playing Kombat max odds, one Kombat max odds for 1,000 shooters, it's $75,000 that I got to bring to get through that. That's a crazy town, right? Not just for that. I'm not saying that that's a bad bet. I'm saying that when you realize how much money you cycle through a casino doing your plays, it's pretty unfathomable when you get down to it. Anyway, that's I'm gonna make this pretty at some point. I might even give it to Matt at Dice Data, let him kind of make charts out of it and stuff. But this to me is a pretty good comparison. Now, if I do this same strategy, and you'll see the difference. If I don't cover anything, what we have this time is this guy playing the 140 across, the 140 across. Look at the difference here. He goes 140 across. He's got to bring $250,000 to get the 140 across, and that's the 140, take a hit, come down, right? Where player 2 still bring the same 75,000. His number doesn't really change, right? But $240,000 to lose, a net of $50, right? The total losses there were 73,000 total wins. His net was minus 4,000. 240 to lose 4K, 75 to win 4 to lose 470. That's the difference there, right? Again, this guy's tying most of the time. He's going to end up, look at that, always in about the same spot. This guy here has got minus 4,000. Now look, the gambler says, I'm willing to basically risk $4,000. He loses $4,000, right? The upside is there's going to be days, and if you look at some of these things, the total return, he brought in $237,000 through this whole thing. $69,000 in wins at some point, right? He more than doubles the amount of wins that the Kombatter got. There's more chances in there to go home with money. There's more chances in here to leave ahead. This is goals and discipline. Even though the net result was a total loss, he had more winning days and more bigger wins than this guy ever had. But this guy walked away losing $500, and I ask you, what's the fucking point? What's the point? I'd rather put the money at risk and have a chance to win double the money as a gambler than sit here and tie all day long. That's the argument. This is the argument. The low house edge argument is right in front of you, right? Low risk, or these are known risk, low reward. Higher risk, higher variance. Sometimes minus 4. I run this comparison, and this guy here has won $30,000. This guy always loses $500. It's just what it is. I can run this thing 1,000 times, and what you find is the variance of player 1. Big losses, big wins. Big losses, big wins. This guy here is always the same. That's what you find when you run these math comparisons. I think it's fascinating. But I wanted you to see today. Let me go back to the other screen for you. Where am I at here? What I wanted you to see today was on the table the way that I think about it, the way I try to frame the argument. And again, there's truth to it. You've got to be, if you're a gambler guy, if you don't want to believe in the whole notion of low house edge play, the truth is what you just saw. The come better will tie most of the time. They're not going to have they have a lot of money required, but not a lot of money really ultimately at risk. As a gambler, place better, you're going to, especially if you're going across, massive swings. You're in the game for the swing, and you're in the game for the chance to get up and get out. It's so important to realize the truth of both sides of that, right? If it's one bet versus one bet, it's very tight. You saw how tight it was with the 4 and the 6. Very, very tight. So just know the truth. Understand both sides of the argument, and then pick your battle. Do you want to play for a tie and good comps and the experience, or do you want to go out there and take a shot? Taking a shot can cost you money, but taking a shot can earn you money too. There's that pendulum swing is why you're gambling most of the time. That's what I got. All right. Let's see. Can I run a simulation of lays versus don'ts? Totally can do that. Yeah, I can. Maybe next week we'll do the same thing. That's a tough call, man. Lay bets without the rider, or I call it the horse. Without the horse to ride on, a lay bet is a tough deal. But I'm gonna take a shot at it. That's a good call. Let's see. Refusing insurance in blackjack is equivalent to a half unit wager with That's a good point. Never take insurance. Never take one of the worst bets going. Let's see. I'm making an argument that the place bet is better than a pass line bet. I'm not making it for it. This is a great question, actually. Let me go to the table. Is it a better bet? And this is the thing. Let's go back here. Boom, boom. The place bet is not a better bet. It's not a better bet. Let me try and frame this again so that everybody can understand this. It's a good question. A $30 8. Let me get the right numbers here. A $60 8 versus a come bet that travels and has $50 in odds. Those bets pay the exact same. Okay? What makes the come bet, quote unquote, a better bet is that right there, this guy can lose 60, this guy can win 10. For one roll, win 10, lose 60. The impact of that one roll is amazing. When you look at and that simulation breaks down detail much further than I showed you. The impact of this roll cannot be understated. And I got to say this very, very clearly. This bet is fantastic. This bet here is fan-fucking-tastic when it's in the come. The swing of this is huge. That's the reason why you have swings. The place better gets destroyed on the 7 while this is in the come. Now here, they're the same bet. There's no difference. At this point, they're the same. At this point, there's a massive advantage for one player versus the other. But here, after the one roll, and again, if on the 8, I'm going to try and this table's kind of small, but if you don't take full odds, right, you got $35 here. I can't really do $35. I can do $36, right, as a proper bet. But 35 pays 10 flat and 30 on the odds, right? You're getting paid $40. 36 pays 42. And again, essentially the same number. We can eliminate the dollar, okay? This still pays $1 more than that, right? The payment on the place bet is better than the payment on the come bet with odds unless you go 3, 4, 5 level or higher. If you don't put full odds on a come bet, the only thing you're getting advantage-wise is this one roll. If you're going to come in here and do single odds or double odds, you're not going to go full odds, you're screwing yourself as opposed to the place better. That, I'll die on that hill for sure. If you're going to play the come with odds, you better play max odds. Otherwise, you might as well have placed it. There's no point to this bet here. There's no point to a $10 bet with 25 and on. There's zero advantage there to you. You got one roll. Congratulations, bet. But in here, you're getting killed by this guy. You're just going to over time get crushed. When I compare that, there's no comparison. The place bet is the better payment than this, unless you go max. But again, max out of your rack hurts. This, though, and I'm going to say it again. I'll make this my closing thought today. I do not want to poo-poo this bet. It's very important. This right here, this situation where I've got money out and I'm coming out, and that 7 comes. If you look at the chart, the 1,000 roll chart, that situation happened. That PSO happens. I'm gonna go find where it happened here. The quick 7 when I ran 1,000 rolls. Let me actually go back. You got to see this because you asked the question. I'm gonna make you look at it now. I've got it highlighted. This line is highlighted here. The quick 7, right? Where I've got the $140 across. This is the wrong example. When I have 140 across, in 1,000 shooters, we had 290 PSOs, right? That cost this guy 40 grand, right? Look at the difference there. When you got one bet in the come for one guy's on the number waiting for it to hit, and the 7 comes, in 1,000 shooters, it cost him 40 grand. That situation cost him 40 grand, where the come better, of course, makes 2,900. That's a huge fucking swing. That's a $45,000 swing, almost $43,000 swing. That's massive, and I think that's what 40 Craps is talking about. This swing right here, losing that bet versus winning this bet, that's a $40-something thousand swing when you do 1,000 rolls. And again, I'm doing the across bet, right? That's a massive freaking swing. This is a big advantage. And I know people say it's one roll. It's one roll, but it's enormous because this happens all the time. All the time you get that 7 in here. It's why the Headless Horseman is a great strategy. It's why 40 Craps' strategy is so good. It's why Ken's Don't Pass ladder is so good, because the PSO happens so often. That's what come betting capitalizes on versus the place better. While you got all your stuff set up, winning $10, big deal, right? Yeah, but you lose 140, it's a big deal. So it's a good point, 40 Craps. And I'm glad you brought it up. I wanted to make sure I covered that in totality. All right, I got to get out of here. It's definitely time. I'm late for my work, but good conversations. I love y'all, and I got to run. Let's see. Anyway, I got to roll. Have a good day. Love y'all. God bless everybody. I'll see you, say Thursday. I'll see you Monday. By the way, if you're in Vegas, come to Boulder Station on Saturday. We're having our big birthday party for Casino Quest, launch party for the app. Everything becomes official on Saturday. And then on Monday, I can start talking about the app. I can actually show examples. I can give you the link and all that stuff. It'll be real. So wish me luck with that, and I'll see you Monday. We'll do a little recap. Love y'all. Bye.